flights has been nothing. It's like a brand new filter, so I'm not sure if this is the reason. Now I'll run a paper towel in one end, out the other. Now just take a clean towel and run it in one side, and you can see some of the dust. See the dust on there? So that's just less stuff that's going to ultimately wind up in the filter. Now the joint needs to be as rough as possible. And now this is the only step we're going to be able to do this day. The next step is just to install the front end cap. And then what we do is let gravity take the gravity itself makes for a nice joint around there. Now if I try to do everything gets loose and it just is a 4-day operation to make a tank, and this is the only way I know how to do it. Again, this is Wayne's technology. This is how he suggested I try with the micro balloons and some of the resin. Mix it up, make like a cement, and I'll show how I actually do the first joint. And then that's the last thing we can do today. We put it aside to dry. You only need a half a spoonful of this. You can see what that's like. It's micro balloons. They call it recyclospheres, whatever that means. Now I've mixed up a small batch according to that little chart I have. I just pick up a little bit more. Again, I'm going to let gravity do its job and just make sure I've got all these joints. These are really precision joints, by the way, so So this job is relatively easy. If we had sloppy joints, drying, of course, I'll do the prep for the next cycle. We don't need to do that on video. I'll prep the mold, get it ready so that I'm always making one. In other words, when you have 4 steps to do, you always want to have one part for all 4 steps, or else what would happen is you'd only make one part every 4 days. So the objective here is, while this is drying, we'll prep the mold. While the wax is drying, we'll cut the material. We're always waiting for something to dry while we're prepping the next part. But for video purposes, we'll come back to that tomorrow. Today the end cap is glued on, and we've got a nice clean joint, nice tight joint in fact. Now the next thing is I need to take the Dremel burr and get the holes in here for the venting and then lay out the venting. But before I do that, the next step is to get the exact size tank. This is going to be a 6 ounce, so we're going to make it about 5.5 and get that cut, and I'll do that off camera the same way we did the front and get it all squared up at 90 degrees on the grindstone. But I just found it's significant to me to get these done in steps. When you try to do more than one step at a time, it really got awkward. Got the exact length I want on here. I marked it. And what I do, I always cut it maybe 1/8 of an inch oversize, because I want all these angles to be 90 degrees. Leaving about an extra 1/8 in and do the final little bit with the grindstone. Now in this case, you can see I have enough left over to maybe make a 3.5 ounce tank or something like that. So I'll be real careful to save this little piece. If we get an order for maybe even a 4, let's see. Yeah, you could even make a 4 ounce tank out of that. But some of the little 4 strokes, say for a Sato 30 or for Fox 35 even, that might be a doable little part. So what I'll do now, and this is just a thing of time management, what I'll do is as I lay up the tubes in here, because that's the next step, I can prepare this and get an end cap on this and then just see just how much of this. I can save this till we get an order for a 3, 3.5, 4, maybe even a 4.5 ounce tank out of that. So this I don't want to throw away right now. But it's always good to, if you can, have 2 things going at the same time, because of course we have to run the oven when we do the post-cure, and if we're going to run a post-cure, we may as well put as many tanks as possible in there. Preparing it, these tips don't last long, that's the whole problem. And when they start to go bad, you don't get a nice bite on it. And it's best to just dump them. Now when I do the inside, I'm going to grind away in here because this is where the safety wire is going to go. and I don't want to have it leak out by the safety wire.